I get asked a surprising amount of times why I chose to leave America for Norway. I say surprising because to me it's obvious why anybody who can is trying to leave that hellscape. But I guess the myth of America persists, and we've done some really good marketing over the last century or so to convince people that it's a land of opportunity, and maybe it was once. But what happened yesterday is, I don't think I'm ever going to find a better example than that a former president was shot at his own campaign rally. When people ask me why I've left, the first thing I say, kind of to make them, sort of shock them into seeing what a silly question it is, why did I leave, is that I say in Norway, I can promise my children that they will live through the day in first grade without getting shot to death. And a lot of Americans thought I was being very extreme, fleeing the whole country for this reason. But on the other hand, I mean, I do have anxiety. You could say that this is an anxiety response. This is unreasonable. On the other hand, what kind of parent... I know not everybody has this choice, but if you have the choice, if you have the privilege, if you're offered a way out, I was offered a way out, why wouldn't I get away from that to a place where I could promise my kids they won't be gunned down? On the one hand, too, we think of like political violence, that is sort of I don't know, in movies, I feel like you see that happening. So maybe that seems more like, oh, people have political violence. On the other hand, the system is imploding on itself. Our own politicians that refuse to vote into law common sense gun laws are now the victims of these lack of gun laws. It's like you can't even, I mean, this is the best example of why I left. But it goes two ways, because since the moment I saw the news in the middle of the night last night and was talking to my friends about it, none of us know what to believe. None of us even know if we think it happened, but like, was it a setup? Was it an inside job? Like, we live in a world where ever since 2016, ever since Trump, in my opinion, took presidency, nobody trusts anything. Even now that I work as a fact checker, people don't really always trust fact checkers. Everything is so polarized that it's not just the people on the right, it's us on the left too that say like, well, what do we believe? Do we think this really happened? Or do we think it happened and it really was just a random shooter? Do we think they're going to come out and say that it was this like very extreme person on the left that shot him? Well, no. Turns out he was a registered Republican, but maybe he donated, perhaps they say, to the Biden campaign after January 2021. It's like everything is political, all right? Everything is political. But everything is politicized right now. I don't want to live in a society where I legitimately don't know what to believe about somebody shooting the president. I don't want to live in a society where people are shot so much that like former presidents are getting shot at when they're on a campaign rally. This is the best explanation of why we moved. I think we need to think about this world but we also don't know what to make out of it. I want to say that this is the example of lack of common sense gun laws, but I don't know what to think about any of this. Yep. It's a good reason, good example of why I moved though.